Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. It has been a while since we uploaded the last video. I feel like I do this intro every time, but no, it has been a while since the last video was out. Longer than I promised, so I do apologize for that. But the last week or two have been quite hectic, so I have found it hard to find time. But I have a plan, and I'm not gonna say it because every time it feels like every time I say something, I almost jinx it. So I'm not gonna say it, but I do have a plan for this channel, and I do. And I did say this in the last video I made, which was in 2021, by the way, on December 31st or December 30th. I can't remember which day I made it, but when I did make that last video, I did say that I do intend to be more committed to this channel, and I will show that commitment will be shown. That commitment will be shown. I can assure you. It's been a slow start to the new year. It's my first video of this new year, so happy New Year! But trust me, there's going to be a lot coming this year. I can't tell you what, and I can't tell you how frequently, but I can assure you there will be content. So yeah. Anyways, in the first video of the year, this has the potential to be arguably the most the most funny video or my most liked video ever. Full stop. This genuinely is gonna be. I have a feeling this could be one of my most favorite videos I've ever uploaded. So I think you guys really might enjoy this. And as you can clearly see, we're gonna be talking about Manchester United, and they are in crisis. What is going on to the most successful club in England? We're here to talk about that. Now, we are going to be talking about a couple of things first. We're going to be starting off with their league position, some rumors about players, misfiring players, and their last Premier League game. We'll start off with their last Premier League game, which was a 1-0 loss to Wolves, in a game where they were awful. Apart from Bruno Fernandes hitting the bar after coming on in around the 60th, 65th minute, they created next to nothing. Jose Sa could have probably not been there, and he would have still probably kept a clean sheet. They looked disgustingly bad offensively, but they looked all right defensively. To be fair to Manchester United, they weren't that bad defensively. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're not that bad defensively. You have to show some sort of attacking cohesion. And the thing with Manchester United and their attacking fluency, if you want to call it, that they don't have any. They don't have any fluency in the attack. They look disjointed. This 4-2-2, which I will talk about in a minute or two, it's not working, and the players look really lost. And a word on Phil Jones, who I think has got a lot of rightful praise from the media. Listen, man, I feel really happy for Phil Jones because excluding excluding the trivialness I have towards Manchester United, on a human level, that guy deserves all the praise he's getting. But guys, if Manchester United intend on winning the league or the Champions League or contending or being serious for any of these things, Phil Jones can't be anywhere near that starting 11. He's a good defender, but a good defender, he's just not good enough. And that speaks volumes because he's a better defender than Harry Maguire, and yet Harry Maguire is the captain. That probably just about clearly sums up the problems at this club, and it almost perfectly leads me on to the players at this club. So I'm going to talk about some of the misfiring players. Harry Maguire has had arguably the worst 6 months I've ever seen a Manchester United defender have, ever, full stop. He's the most overrated captain in Manchester United history. He's the worst defender in Manchester United history, and he's quite possibly up there for the worst signing in Manchester United history and Premier League history. He's probably topped the Manchester United history one, because if you look at the money they spent on him, they were expecting Van Dijk. My God, if they got a half of Van Dijk, they wouldn't be seventh. So yeah, but he just won. If you look at Bruno Fernandes, I think Bruno Fernandes is an overly hated player. He's a world class player, Bruno Fernandes. There's no getting around that. His numbers can seem a little bit padded because he does tend to get a lot of penalties, but even if you exclude his penalties, if you look at his assists alone, Manchester United look 10 times a better team with him on the pitch than off it. So that does show his quality. But this season, he has been a little bit awful. And since Ranić has come in, he has not actually played as much as you think. You think Ranić would make Bruno one of his first like favorite like Ollie did. But actually, Ranić has been slightly harsher on Bruno than I would have expected. But he's another one who has been similarly not on the same level as Maguire in terms of form, but he has been similarly poor. And Fred and McTominay, there's no explanation with these two clowns. Fred just survives, but Scott McTominay is one of the worst players I've ever seen play football in my life. This man, he's a midfielder who is scared of the ball. He's scared to show for the ball. He doesn't want to be a passing option. When you're a midfielder, the one thing you have to do is never be afraid to come and ask for the ball, even in a bad game. He's scared of the ball, and he has. I don't know what his position is, because he is not a defensive midfielder. If he is a defensive midfielder, which Man United fans clearly think he is, that's where the problems are. So yeah, those are some misfiring players. There are a lot more, don't get me wrong, but I could name their whole 11 and call them misfiring. Bart, David De Gea. So I don't want to do that because I'll be here all day. But moving on to these players and this dressing room leaks, I'm gonna stop this nonsensical stupidity that's been coming out of big football clubs. I'm going to talk about Romelu Lukaku for a second because it's going to give context to what I think about this Manchester United situation, because my thoughts about Lukaku are identical to what these players are doing. Romelu Lukaku, what he did in that interview, that alone should have got his contract terminated. I do not care. Listen, Chelsea are a successful club, and they are big enough to sell Romelu Lukaku, to terminate his contract, and survive. They won a European Cup without Romelu Lukaku. So do not get it twisted two ways. He's a very good striker. But that interview, the things he said in it were nothing short of a disgrace. And these Manchester United players that are coming out and leaking stuff to the press, wash your heads. Wash your heads in shame. You are a disgrace to Manchester United. I hate that club. I don't like that club. I have no empathy or no sympathy for this club. I enjoy the situation of the club, if I'm being honest. But the one thing I won't tolerate it at, whether it even be at a club that I despise, such as Manchester United, is lack of respect to the club. This club is the biggest club in England. There have been players have died for this club. Do you understand how disgraceful it is with the stuff they come out in the media with? Well, let's leak to the media. Oh yeah, we're not happy because we're not getting game time. I'm sorry, Dean Henderson isn't happy that he isn't getting game time. Sorry, did you expect to be starting over David De Gea? I don't care what Ollie told you. You'd get minutes. Piss off, you'd get minutes. Man, you could. No goalkeeper in the world starts ahead of David De Gea right now for Manchester United. He is so incredibly good that Dean Henderson should be shutting up and listening and watching De Gea and understanding. Because when he did get a stint, if you look back at the game that Manchester United lost 4-2 to Liverpool earlier on in last year, he was so bad for that first goal Salah scored. He basically let Salah have 3/4 of the goal to aim at. So I don't even want to hear Dean Henderson saying that, oh yeah, I should be starting over David De Gea. I'm unhappy. Let me leak stuff to the press. Get out of the club. Get out. I don't care. And that's one example. I won't name them all because I think that it's hard to find the exact names. But if this is true, if this was 11 has become 17 apparently, according to the Daily Mail, which is slightly unreliable, so I would take that with a grain of salt. But if this is true, if there are 17 players out of, I think, the 30 Man United have, all 17 of you pack your bags and leave. Pack your bags, get out of the club. Because believe me, Manchester United have survived without you, and they will survive. And they've done it before, and they can do it again. So do not think for 1 second you are bigger than that club. That club is bigger than any player, whether that be Cristiano Ronaldo or not. I do not care. It's disgraceful, and it pisses me off, man. You know, I'm a young football fan. You know, I haven't seen those olden time football. Like, I haven't seen those days where clubs had more authority than players. But what's happening now is players are tending to get more authority, and it's disgraceful. I can't stand it. So, yeah, moving on to their league position, which is 7th. Now, look, if we talk about their form, it's not too bad. But if you talk about the performances, which we can swiftly lead on to in a minute, they've been awful. And it's because of this 4-2-2 and the fact that they are 7th in the league. It's alarming, man. We are in January, guys. We are in almost mid-Jan, and they are 7th. Manchester United here could struggle to get Conference League football. That is very alarming. And moving on to Ranić, who is not exempt from criticism. Listen, Ralf Ranić is a talented coach. I do think there are there are some good things about Ranić. He's a well-spoken guy. He clearly knows what he's doing, and I'm not gonna blame him for everything, but I will blame him for that Wolves game because the lineup on the left is that Wolves game, and the lineup on the right is the Norwich game. Listen, Ralph. I'm not a tactical genius. You definitely have more tactical knowledge than me about football, but clearly, you could see that this 4-2-2 isn't working in the Norwich game itself. You beat Norwich because of the penalty, which was a soft penalty, but it was a penalty. But you beat them because of a penalty in a game where if Norwich score half their chances, they win that game 2-0. That's what I mean. So Norwich's ability to not score was the reason you won that game, not because you were tactically brilliant. So you should have seen it then, that if a team like Norwich could overload you the way they did, a team like Wolves would skin you alive. And Moutinho's goal was such an easy finish for him. He just passed it in the back of the net. I think De Gea should have done a bit better there, but to be honest, Man United's performance is what's alarming me. This 4-2-2 looks it looks it looks out of ideas. This team, they look out of ideas, and I'm sorry, but what is this team actually supposed to try to do? There's no creativity from deep. Scott McTominay can't pass win. Nemanja Matic is about 73. The fact that they think Nemanja Matic is their first class or their first choice CDM, that's where the problems are. But that's not the only thing. I get that they don't have a lot of options at DM, but surely Donny van de Beek has to be given a chance. I'm sick to death of hearing people say Donny van de Beek isn't physical enough for the Premier League. Which means he's not physical enough from the Premier League. He hasn't been given a run to see if he's physical or not. So, Ralf Rangnick, that Wolves game really highlighted your lack of tactical nous and your lack of Premier League experience. And listen, Ralph, bro, if you lose to Villa tonight in the cup and you lose to Villa in the league, Villa Brentford away, genuinely speaking, out of their next 6 games, Man United could do lucky to get 2 wins. And those 2 wins might be Burnley and Southampton at best. At best. And even then, Burnley could be a really hard game because Burnley might be scrapping for their lives and they might need the 3 points. So, listen, Ralph, you gotta pull your stuff together because if you get 2 wins out of your next 6, you're gonna get sacked, bro. They're gonna terminate your contract. So, yeah, that'll be all for today's video. It was a slightly shorter video, but yeah, I just wanted to get this video out as quick as possible. So, yeah, I will catch you guys soon for the next video. And, yeah, once again, Happy New Year, guys. I hope you guys stay committed to watching my channel, and yeah, I'll catch you guys soon.